Let me briefly talk about natural synchronization. It seems that you have forgotten how to follow up all the videos. I talked about natural synchronization for some time, and this is how I do my things. Again, let me just repeat it. First and foremost, if you're doing goat farming, the issue is all about not only goats, but let it be sheep and even cows. The issue is all about how many animals do you produce till when. Actually, in this business, the main aim is reproduction. The main aim is reproducing more animals. That's the reason why you put in money. That's why you buy land. That's why you do the construction. It's because of production. Now, this is what I do. Remember, I used to tell you that goats, as themselves, their gestation period. Gestation period, that's the period when an animal is pregnant. It takes 5 months. You get it? So, if you want your animals to produce in a certain period, you have to do what they call natural synchronization. We have many different synchronization systems that we can use. You get? Because there is one we call the we use the hormones to synchronize the animals. So that is also a system of synchronization, but that is not natural synchronization. It is just synchronization. Then there is another system whereby you eliminate or you separate the males from the main flock. You retain them for a certain period of time, depending on your calculation and what you plan to do. You get? So, in that case, I told you that we want animals that we want animals to produce. Actually, we want animals to produce when it's a dry spell. The advantage of producing animals in a dry spell, one is in the period of dry spell, the diseases are few. So it's not common for animals to get a lot of diseases. Because remember, I told you we categorized. I tried to explain to you which kind of diseases attacks us and when. You get it? So in the rainy season, we have our diseases, and in the dry spell, we have our diseases. So this is what I was saying, that if we produce kids in a dry spell, it is much better than producing those kids in a rainy season. Because in a rainy season, there is a lot of infections that are multiplying, and even ticks and everything. So we better have more kids during the dry spell, because in a dry spell, we only fight with fleas, which is also easy to fight with. So if we produce during the dry spell, you see the number of goats that grow are more or are many than those that are produced in a rainy season. So dry spell is better to produce than the rainy season. So what happens is that make sure that you remove, and I'm going to talk about natural synchronization because I told you too, there is a hormonal synchronization and there is also natural synchronization. With artificial hormone synchronization, you introduce hormones to an animal and then it comes on heat. You get? So sometimes you try to build up what they call you build up the synchronization, whereby you're supposed to introduce many hormones in the body, like the GnRH, the PGF, in that same animal. But in this case, you don't need to apply hormones. You get it? You just leave it to grow by itself, but by playing with its psychology. What do I mean by that? That if you remove a male from the main flock, let's say, what I always do, I remove my males, so that I introduce them when those animals are bred, they can produce in a dry spell. I've told you my reasons is diseases are more during the rainy season and they are very minimal during the dry spell. Though I know all kind of diseases that I'm handling in a different season, and I know which drugs I'm supposed to have during this season. So me, I prefer producing kits in a dry spell. The reasons I have told you, they are minimal infections during that period. How do you do it? So me, I know the gestation period, the period where when the animal is pregnant, that is 5 months. So what I do, like in our seasons here, we do have season of dry spell in January. Actually, January up to March. That's when we have the dry spell. And we also have a dry spell from June to July. The other time it was even in August. It was a dry spell. So my target is producing in January and also producing in June. Actually from June, July to August. So that is the sure. How do I do it? So I remove my male. Let's say I remove it for 3 months. I can remove my males from September, October. Actually, I do it actually it's supposed to be October. I remove it in October, December, and January. So I introduce a male in January 20th. Whereby if the animal is bred 20th of January, let's count from Feb 20th, that is 1 month. March 20th, that is 2 months. April 20th, those are 3 months. May 20th, that is 4 months. And June 20th, that is 5 months. So my animal would start to produce in June 20th, which is a dry spell. June, July, August, September. So those are the 3 months. If animals are bred within 3 months, they can as well produce within 3 months. So that is how I do it. So if I remove my animal in 20th of January, they get bred up to 20th of January, February, March. So I remove them in April. You get it? Such that they start to produce during June, July, August, and they stop in September because that's when the rain has started. So now, this is what I do. I told you that the heat the cycle of an animal, if it produces and it is eating very well, and it is not sick, if a goat produces today, after 18 to 21 days, it will again come back on heat. So that means in the period where an animal are producing, because they will produce for 3 months, or introduce the males during that period. Let's say if we introduced the males in January up to April 20th, remove them, then introduce them in June when those animals have started producing. That means the animals will not miss the heat. Because if it produces this month and next month comes back on heat, it can be fired, or even not. If it skips a month, then the other month it will be bred. So by the time those animals stop producing, at least most of them have already been bred. So that means our animal will produce twice in a year. So if you introduce it during that period, you find that the animals, your system will be properly arranged. And even if you don't remove the males, they will consistently follow the other cycle if you're really feeding them well. So that is how I do it. And the science behind that is that if an animal misses heat and you don't give it a male, then other animals will come in the period of that month, in the period of that cycle. So that means many animals will come on heat and they don't get bred. So when you introduce that animal, that smell you hear, for a male goat, it is called a testosterone hormone. So when it comes in a flock of an animal, it induces those animals that have been missing the heat. You get it? So when that animal smells in them, it will help the body to secrete hormones like GnRH, LH, FSH, then finally the PGF2 alpha, because of the smell. So they will be stimulated because of the smell of the males. So that is a simple way. You have seen what I've got now. Those are animals that are out of synchronization. So I'm supposed to receive kids this month, next month, and up to September. So I'm expecting to have over 400 plus kids. And they can be, now yesterday I received over 20 kids at a go. You get?